Hey guys, Johnny here from Jeep and Tech. Today I'm going to show you how we're going to install this module I provide, which basically allows you to have Apple Carplay and Android Auto directly onto the factory head unit. So that means you will retain all the factory functions, especially for the SRTs, which have extra options that the normal Grand Cherokee don't have. So it's very handy, and I will give you awesome connectivity across the board. So the good thing about this module here is that it's going to give you wireless Apple CarPlay, so you don't have to plug your phone in as well. So yeah, let's get started. So here's what you get in the box. So you're going to get the two modules. You're going to get the two antennas for wireless Apple CarPlay, the USB cable if you prefer to use wired or use Android Auto, the HDMI cable to make it talk to the screen from the module, the headphone jack for the sound, extra microphone, this little motherboard relay switch that's going to allow you to switch back and forth between the factory screen and the Apple CarPlay screen, the main Jeep harness to power it all, the touch cable, and the cable to make the display talk between the module and the factory radio. Also, the tools you're going to require are simple, so better if you can get a prying tool, but otherwise a thin flathead just to open the fascia. A thinner prying tool or tweezers would do. Here we're going to use a thin flathead again, very small. You're going to need a T10 and T11 screwdriver and a 7mm socket. So the first thing you're going to need to do is we're going to need to remove the fascia kit, which is this area here. So we're going to go with the prying tool in this lower corner here, and we're just going to pry it out, and then it's just going to follow. You have clips all along the top, to the side, down to the bottom. So yeah, we're going to start prying it out here. Next up, once you've got the fascia out of the way, you just got to unclip the air conditioning control, and the fascia kit can come aside. Now we're going to need the 7mm socket screwdriver. So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to remove these ones and unplug everything from the back. Now that we have our head unit out of the way, so we're going to unplug these 4 ports, the USB cable and the main harness. So let's go ahead and do that. So you have to click each pin, and here you're probably going to need a little screwdriver just to open the clip. So there you go. Once you've unclipped the main harness and all the cables, take the radio inside with you, and we are now going to disassemble this unit to connect the required cables to talk to the module. Okay, so now that we have the head unit, the factory head unit in the house, what we're going to do is we're going to have to disassemble it so we can connect this ribbon cable and this little motherboard relay, and that's going to allow us to basically connect the other bigger module, so the head unit can talk back and forth between the module and the factory functions. So all you're going to need here is either the thin screwdriver I showed you, or a little pair of tweezers so we can open cables and all, and the T10 and T11 screwdriver set. So here what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to start going ahead and removing this screw here. 1, 2, 3 right here, and 4. So go ahead and remove those 4 screws. Okay, now that we have those 4 screws removed, we gotta gently pull up. So wiggle it up, but do not pull it straight out, because there is a small cable connected right here. So what we need to do is just unclip it. It's just a small aerial. Pass it under the tape and this can come out freely. Now this next part here, again you have to be very gentle. Take the corner of the motherboard right here, then grab this main little bit here and put it up gently, and lastly on this side put it up this way. You would understand why it takes a bit of a time and precision, because you obviously have to unplug this, as this one sits right here. So go ahead and put that aside. Next up we have a screw here in the center, another one top and on the right. So go ahead and remove these 5 screws. Okay, once we have the 5 screws out of the way, we are going to remove 4 screws on the side of the head unit. So you'll have 1, 2, and on the other side 3, 4. So go ahead and remove these 4. Next up, once we remove the 4 side screws, we're going to have to unclip the cover so we can access the LCD connector. So you have a clip here, here, on the side you would have another 2, 1, 2, top, 1, 2, and on the other side again another 2. So go ahead and unclip all those ones. Once we've got all the clips unclipped, we just got to very gently hold the black frame and pull this cover off. So just make sure the clips are not getting caught with anything, and just give it a straight pull. So now you have the cover off, and this is the part we need to access. So be very careful along this entire process, because you could damage your head unit. Next up, we need to connect this ribbon cable to the LCD and the touchscreen connector. So we're going to gently open this little flap, as you can see here, and we're going to grab the ribbon cable and put it out of the way. Same here for the touchscreen cable. So we're going to open this silver frame up, so we open the silver frame up and pull the ribbon cable out of the way. Next, go ahead and grab the new ribbon cable. And what we're going to do here, we're going to connect this end right here to the head unit motherboard, and we close up the flap. Make sure to go widespread, because if you click in the middle here, you might crack the flap, and from there, yeah, cause irreversible damage to your head unit. Now here as well, we're going to put the touchscreen connector back in from this new ribbon cable. So go ahead and slide it in and close the silver flap.
Just make sure that the connector is properly fitted. As you can see here, it seems a bit crooked, so we're going to open it again. And fit it right back in. There we go. Now we're going to gently bend that over, open the flap again, and we are going to connect the factory LCD connector to this cable and close the flap. And same for the touch connector right here. So this, to open this one, you have to just put it open and slide the factory cable inside like so and close it just like that. So next, what you want to do is bend it over the factory connectors, then back in a U shape, as you can see, and tuck it in just in that slot right here. And from here, we're going to grab our cover back in, put it back in now, and be very, very gentle. Do not push too hard because you can damage the ribbon connector. So you want to push down the ribbon connector as you put it in, just to avoid extra pressure on that cable. And go ahead and reclip the 6 clips on each side of the head unit. So now we're going to go in reverse order. So we've got our 3 sets of screws. So we're going to grab our side screws for this corner corner frame, and put them back. Now we take our second set of screws for these 5 and put them back as well. There we go. Next we grab our other piece of motherboard back. Just make sure right here that if you see any dust particle or anything, you wipe it off just to avoid issues, and go ahead and put that straight down just so the connector can plug in properly, and give a slight push where the connector is below, and now it's connected again. Now we grab our lid again. We're going to pass this small aerial back under the tape and connect it back to its respective port right here. Be very gentle with this port. And now we're going to close it up using the 4 screws from the start of this tutorial. There we go. Now we have our modified head unit with the extra cable that we need. So now we can grab this extra little motherboard, which I'll be providing a casing for it very soon, just to keep things isolated. We open the little flap right here and we connect it directly to the cable from the head unit and we close the flap. There we go. Now let's head back to the Jeep. Okay, so now that we have our modified head unit with everything that we need, the hardest part is pretty much done. So what we need to do here with the head unit is connect this cable that I provide directly onto this motherboard right here. So you feel it click when it's going in. And the other end of that cable will go directly to this module. It can only go one way, so plug that right here to LCD output. Make sure it's fully in. Next up we have the Jeep harness right here. So for this one, basically it's going to power these modules as well as the head unit. So it's a piggyback harness. So we connect the female end to the factory one of the car. Once again, it can only go one way. Just make sure you have enough play with the clip so you can close it up like so. Then the other end of these cables, so we have this thick ones that goes for power, and you should notice you now have a green light. And this small one right here will power this other module, which that will give you the ability to have Apple CarPlay. So we plug that in. Next we grab the provided HDMI cable. And we're going to connect the HDMI cable from this end down to this module. Next we're going to grab the touchscreen cable, which is a 4-pin connector. And we're going to grab our little box right here, connect the 4-pin to the touch port, grab our bigger module and connect the other 4-pin to the touch port. Now we're just going to give it a quick test to see if it boots up properly and works as it should. So we're gonna connect all the cables back in just so we can test everything for now. So there we go. So we're going to start the car. So as you can see, it's going to start as normal. There we go. So now, as you can see, we still got all the factory functions and everything. So here, what we're going to want to do is at the back of the steering wheel, where your volume controls are, you have the middle button. So you want to hold it, and now it's going to come up with the Apple CarPlay Android Auto screen. So as you can see here, the touchscreen is working. So all we have to do here is a touch calibration. So we have to hold the touchscreen for about 10 seconds. and it's going to go in touch calibration mode. So there we go. So you see on the top right of the screen, you got a little cross, so press the cross wherever it appears. So now we have full access to everything with settings. You can toggle wireless Apple CarPlay on and off. So from here, we know it works. If you want to go back to the factory screens, hold the button, back to normal. So now we're just going to run the microphone and antennas for wireless Apple CarPlay, and then we'll just have to pack all this away and we're pretty much done. Now with the microphone, this is going to allow you to use Siri and Google Assistant if you use Android Auto, as well as answering phone calls and everything, because obviously the module is not linked to the factory Uconnect. So the best spot for the microphone I recommend is right here. So yeah, what we do, we put the microphone here, run the wire all along the frame, go under the dash, back to the main module. So yeah, let's do that. Next up, we're gonna do the USB cable. So that one is very easy. We're just gonna drop it from behind here down to behind the door flap here for the dash, and just leave it towards the auxiliary port. We'll plug to the USB port right here on the smaller module. Now grab your 2 antennas for wireless Apple CarPlay, and you want to connect them to these 2 little golden pins on the smaller module as well. When you've connected the 2 antennas, go ahead and peel off the tape cover, and we're going to stick these on each side of the air conditioning vent on the inside. Next, grab your 3.5mm headphone jack and run it the same way you've run the USB cable, and that's going to connect directly to your auxiliary port on the Jeep. So go ahead and plug the auxiliary cable directly onto the Jeep, and the other end of that auxiliary will plug to the port on the smaller box that says SPK for speaker. And at the same time, grab your microphone and plug it to the mic port. Okay, so once you've run the USB down to the center console, connected the 2 antennas and stuck them on each side of the air vents, connected the 3.5mm jack down to the auxiliary cable of your Jeep, and run the microphone, you're pretty much done. So what we'll have to do now is tuck these modules away on the passenger side of the Jeep, and yeah, pretty much pack it up and we'll be all done. So from here, as you can see, you have plenty of room on the passenger side to tuck all the modules and excess wires away. So as you can see, we're left with our Jeep harness, all the connectors for GPS antennas of the factory functions, DAB radios, USB cable. So go ahead and grab your factory head unit back. Again, tuck the excess wire away. Make sure you don't tuck away too much, but also not enough. So go ahead and plug everything back to the head unit. There you go. Just put your head unit back in place. Make sure this wire here has enough gap to go through. And grab your 7mm socket and screw it back in place. Now go ahead and grab your fascia kit back, plug the air conditioning controls back in, put the air vents back in place and give it a straight push, and we're done. So next up, grab your iPhone and start the car. So again, we're going to hold the button behind the steering wheel on the volume switch, the middle button, or you can simply hold the back button right here. So from here on your iPhone, we're going to go into the Bluetooth settings and look up for Carplay Bluetooth. You press on it. The code should be 0000. If it is not 4 zeros, it will be 1234. But as you can see, we got it already. You will have a notification that says use CarPlay with this car. Press yes. So again, this supports both wireless and Apple CarPlay. For Android, it is just wired. And now you have a factory Jeep Grand Cherokee with built-in Apple CarPlay. So yeah, if you want to go back to the factory settings, it will be on your volume switch of the steering wheel or the back button. So from here, if you want to hear the music, as you saw before, we've connected the headphone jack to the auxiliary port. So we're going to have to go into media and put it onto aux. Then you can go back to Apple CarPlay and the music will simply play. So for example, you can access all your contacts, you can make calls, you can use Siri, just like Apple CarPlay does.
There we go, customer is happy. He's got his Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So yeah, just make sure to message me on Instagram or WhatsApp. I'll leave a link in the description. And yeah, if you would like to order a module and need some support, just send me a message. And make sure to subscribe as well. Thank you.